السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
إن الحمد لله نحمده تعالى ونستغفره ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبد الله ورسوله أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله وكفى بالله شهيدا فصلوات الله وسلامه عليه يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد. As always, we start off by reminding each other to be conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to remember Him in your affairs. And alhamdulillah, the Prophet ﷺ taught us habits we can do, certain actions we can do throughout the day, very small actions, to help us always remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when we wake up, the Prophet ﷺ told us to say this. And when we go to the bathroom, he told us to say this. And when we leave the restroom, he says say this. And before we go to sleep, say this. And for those of us who don't have it memorized, then I recommend the small book, The Fortress of the Muslim. Right? And it has all of these. Memorize them and allow it to be a connection between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Today, I want to talk about a small subject, but a very important one. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, زُيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ حُبُّ الشَّهَوَاتِ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ وَالْبَنِينَ وَالْقَنَاطِيرِ الْمُقَنطَرَةِ مِنَ الذَّهَبِ وَالْفِضَّةِ وَالْخَيْلِ الْمُسَوَّمَةِ وَالْأَنْعَامِ وَالْحَرْثِ that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He created us, He created this desire inside of us, a natural desire for certain things. Among those things, or maybe the most important things of our desires, the opposite gender, our children, our offspring, money, horses, which today would be translated as cars, right? That which we ride, stock, and agriculture, nature. These things are natural desires Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us with, and there is a wisdom behind that so that we actually do and pursue. Here in America, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, we are very blessed that we can pursue these desires very easily. It just takes a little bit of work. But what's interesting, that most people in the Western world don't know what they want. Everything is available, yet they don't know what they want. Or what they want are very simple things. They're not good enough to be an actual commodity desire to go after. There are things that you just find on your way. You pick up as you go. Such as, my goal is to get a car. I want to buy a new car. My goal is to buy a house. My goal is to get a job. My goal is to graduate. These are all great things, right? But they're not high and they're not good enough to be what we call a goal. We need to think higher. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says at the end of this verse, ذَلِكَ مَتَاعُ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا. See these goals, these things that you pursue? They're just worldly things. In reality, when you think about it, although these are permissible things, but spiritually speaking, these commodities that we seek, they have an end. They eventually dissolve. They eventually become useless. A house can only survive so long. A car depreciates. Us as individuals get older. There is an end. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Wallahu indahu husnul ma'ab. Come see what I have. I have something better to offer you. So the topic today is setting goals. And since this is a spiritual setting, I'll be referring to spiritual goals. As for worldly goals, there are experts you can look at for those. So I have 3 things that we should all look and pursue. 3 goals that we should have. And us as Muslims, we need to keep this concept in our minds. That Iman is never constant. Okay? We never wake up tomorrow with the same amount of Iman that we have today. It's either increasing or decreasing. That's how it is. And the entire world is like that. It's moving. And apparently there is a phrase, a saying, that the only constant is change. That there's nothing that stays the same always. So we need to move forward. We need to make sure that we are moving forward. And certain individuals said, if I didn't learn something today, that means I became less intelligent. If I didn't make more money today, that means I became poorer. Because we are always moving, so we need to make sure as individuals, as a community, that we are moving forward. So how do we set goals? How do we move forward? Number 1, set goals with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I want to share with you an interesting thing that I witnessed. We took a workshop on debate, right? A few weeks ago or a few days ago. Debate, how do we debate? And the instructor of this workshop, he made a scenario for us. He divided us in groups, and he gave each of us a topic. One will debate for, one will debate against. The 3 topics were, Islam, or ISIS is Islamic. That was the first one. You had one group that debates for that claim, for that notion, and one debates against it. The second topic was women oppresses, or Islam oppresses women. And the third one is Islam is incompatible with free speech. 3 topics. One team would debate for it, meaning they will debate that ISIS is in fact Islamic, and another team would debate against it. Do you know what the result was? The result, all Muslims here, common Muslims, not students of knowledge, not imams. These are a general Muslim group. Do you know what the result was? We were able to debate against Islam better than we were for Islam. That was the result. And this isn't strange. What happens is we constantly hear the rhetoric, the Islamophobia on the news. We're reading this, but we don't take the time to actually read the other side. We don't learn enough about Islam to be able to say, no, that is wrong. We're bombarded with news, with rhetoric, with Islamophobia, with Fox News, We're hearing this day and night, but we don't take the time to actually sit and say, no, this is wrong. How can I rebuke that? Take the time to come closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And all of us are at different levels. For those of us who don't pray the 5 daily prayers, make that your goal. Make it your goal and desire it and go after it. For those of us who are struggling to give zakah, make that your goal. Come closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because the first step is always applying the obligatory actions. If you're doing those obligations, then look for the nawafil. Because the Prophet ﷺ teaches us that an individual, a Muslim, will continue doing nawafil until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves him or her. So if you are slacking in terms of the sunnahs of prayer, go for it. If you are slacking in terms of the sunnahs in fasting, such as fasting Arafah, fasting Ashura, fasting whatever other days the Prophet ﷺ told us and recommended us, go for that. If we are struggling giving charity outside of zakah, then make that your goal. If we are, alhamdulillah, we have all this range, this spectrum of good deeds, then learn about Islam. On your commuting, while going to work, while coming from work, invest that time in learning about Islam. We as a Muslim community need to be able to rebuke these silly accusations against Islam. So go after it. Set that goal and go after it. Number 2, make a goal with yourself. Improve yourself. Look at your own self, analyze it, understand it, and see where you can improve. And go for it. And my personal recommendation, us as Muslim Americans, we need to focus on our manners. I'm not saying we have bad manners, but we need to elevate it even more. And unfortunately, the masjid got a complaint from our neighbors behind us, the storage area, that sometimes Muslims will come and try and park in their parking lot. Now, most of the time, they would tell the individual, this isn't a place where you're allowed to park, and they'd go about. But sometimes they're complaining that people would actually confront them. And unfortunately, it gets pretty bad. Manners, my dear brothers and sisters, is important. If you are brown-skinned, you are seen as a Muslim. If you wear a hijab, you are seen as a Muslim. You now represent Islam. You are a scholar of Islam. You are the pinnacle of Islam. You need to keep, or we need to keep that in our minds. Manners is important. If we struggle in terms of our temper, learn from the Prophet ﷺ how to withhold that temper. Improve yourself. Move forward. Number 3, with your family. And the most precious thing you can give your family is time. Give them time. Make sure you give them enough time, especially with your kids. 3 goals. Improve yourself with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Improve yourself in your manners with yourself. Improve yourself with your family and pursue. And if you have your goal, and a goal, by the way, isn't saying, I'm going to be better. That's not well defined. And research shows that if you don't strongly define your goal, it becomes hard to pursue. So when you say, I'm going to improve yourself, identify exactly what you want to improve. When you say, I want to get close to Allah, identify it. Set a goal. Say, I'm going to start praying more in the masjid. That is my goal. Say, I'm going to give more charity to these organizations. Find them and do it. If you have your goal, you defined it, then I give you the words of the Prophet ﷺ. The beautiful words of the Prophet ﷺ. He says, Al-mu'min al-qawi khayrun wa ahabbu ila Allah min al-mu'min al-da'if wa fi kullin khayr. The strong believer, meaning the one whose iman is stronger, is better and more beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than the weaker one, and in each is good. So every Muslim has a role to play. Every Muslim is good. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Prophet ﷺ is telling you, be even better. Elevate yourself. We all have heard of this hadith, but there's a continuation to it. Ihris ala ma yanfa'u. Pursue, strive, put the effort to achieve that which benefits you. Look at the wording of the Prophet ﷺ. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Look at the wording. Pursue that which benefits you. Don't pursue anything. Don't pursue just any random goal that comes to your mind. Pursue that which benefits you. Ihris ala ma yanfa'u. Wasta'in billah. Number 2, seek help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You got your goal? that goal is beneficial to you, it's worth pursuing, then pursue it. Number two, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for help. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for help. Now, it's not only just a goal to reach, it's actually a spiritual journey that you're going to. That you come closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even pursuing worldly affairs, by seeking help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And number three, وَلَا تَعْجَزَ. Don't give up. Never give up. Look at the words of the Prophet ﷺ. Look at this formula he gives us to use to become better, to pursue that which benefits us, to make our quality of life even better. احرص على ما ينفعك. Pursue that which benefits you. وَاسْتَعِنْ بِاللَّهِ. Seek help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلَا تَعْجَزَنْ. And don't give up. Never give up. But sometimes things don't work out. There's a formula for that too. فإن أصابك شيء. If it doesn't work out, فَلَا تَقُلْ لَوْ فَعَلْتُ كَذَا لَكَانَ كَذَا وَكَذَا. Don't say, if only I did this, if only I did that, then the results would have been different. Don't say that. You did what you needed to do. You took the proper measures to reach a goal. If it doesn't work out, don't say if only this, if only that. فَإِنَّ لَوْ تَفْتَحْ عَمَلُ الشَّيْطَانِ. When you say if only this and that, you start regretting, it's a door for the shaitan to take advantage of you. So the Prophet ﷺ prevents regret. And regret is an emotion we truly despise. We hate it. We cannot stand it. So take the formula of the Prophet ﷺ and take this story as well. An individual I recently met. He went up for elections for city council in Cleveland. His name is Bashir Jones. And he took the proper measures. And he did what the Prophet ﷺ told him to do. And you know what's interesting? He said he was able to raise $80,000 for his campaign. Do you know how much of that was from the Muslim community? 2,000. 2,000. He said there are 2 masjids in that area. And they actually helped the opponent against him. 2,000 out of 80,000. And he said, you know, the majority of my donations came from where? The Jewish community. Why is it that Muslims, we don't help each other? We all have goals. And we all love for our goals to be fulfilled, to be achieved. So why don't we love that for our brothers and sisters? If you have a goal, if someone else has a goal, help them with that goal. Be a source of benefit for that individual. Help each other. Ta'awanu ala al-birri wa taqwa. Help one another in achieving piety and achieving taqwa, consciousness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Goals, have them. Move forward. Become better. Never accept status quo. Never accept where you're at right now. Always improve. Do that by number 1, defining your goal. Number 2, pursuing a closer relationship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Improving yourself and coming closer to your family. Take the formula of your Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, with our Prophet sallallahu alaihi. Number 1, pursue what is beneficial to you. Ask help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And number 3, never give up. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن والاه. So Bashir Jones, who went and nominated himself for councilman, actually got the position. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. And he has a video on YouTube where at the end it was an inauguration speech. He said takbir, and the Muslims said Allahu Akbar. Support the brother, make dua for him, and make dua for all those who strive for the sake of Islam. To conclude this khutbah, I'm going to change topics. We all know what's going on in Syria. And as I stand here and I think and I try and understand what we as a community are feeling, and the emotion that came to me was, when will a day come where I don't have to worry, or we don't have to worry about Muslims being attacked and being oppressed somewhere in the world? When will that day come? And it is a hard emotion to deal with. And it is something that we have to strive for. And although I don't have solutions, or us as a community might not be able to directly intercede for our brothers and sisters in Syria, or in Kashmir, or in Burma, or wherever, we can at least help ourselves understand why certain things happen. If we cannot help them, which we can, alhamdulillah, there are ways, at least with money. So find a local charity, Islamic Relief, or some other organization who will, I'm sure, hold a fundraiser, emergency fundraiser, help them and make sure you donate. Understand and know that if they weren't able to enjoy this life, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has another life waiting for them. And this is a common mistake us as human beings do. We forget the other end, that there is a next life waiting for each and every individual. And that next life is determined by our actions. And for our brothers and sisters who aren't able to enjoy this life, who are oppressed, who are killed for no reason whatsoever, other than political ideologies. They have no opinion, they're just trying to eat and feed their family, yet they're being bombarded. Remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a reward for them. If it's not in this life, then it's a big one in the next life. And make dua for them. Sometimes we feel, oh, dua, we've been making dua for so long and things only get worse. You never know when your dua might help an individual. Don't think so big when it comes to dua. Think on the individual level. It might be that your dua, oh Allah protect them, is answered for an individual or a family. It might be that it prevents a bomb from actually exploding. So make dua and strive in your dua. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts every dua. Except the dua of someone who says Allah is not going to answer my dua. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this setting, in this time where we gather for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we leave our jobs, we leave our social life to come and worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a land that doesn't promote religious activity. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect our brothers and sisters in Syria, in Kashmir, in Burma, and in all the world. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help them get through these hard times, to lessen, to ease the pains that they are going through. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bring about peace and justice and cooperation between the Muslims and every other demographic in this world. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us, to open doors for us to help those who are weak, those who are being dealt with unjustly. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us organize events, charity events, commitments, to help us organize ways to help our brothers and sisters in Syria and in all places of the world. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us, to bring about leaders for our ummah, for the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who will help us get out of this phase, and we will, as Muslims, get out of this phase. Here in America, we have strived for 50, 60 years, and we have made great progression, and that's the nature of Islam. It's always progressing, but we need goals. We need goals. An article on CNN Money, says that they did a study on zakat, the Muslims and zakat. They said that Muslims, I don't know if I forgot if it's around the world or just in the Middle East, gather between 250 and 500 billion dollars in zakat. But this zakat is distributed in a very unsystematic way, in a very unorganized way. And this article says if Muslims can actually make a system to help efficiently distribute wealth, they would do a lot more. They would see a lot more results. So us as a Muslim community, we need to gather, make sure we are always helping one another, achieve goals, that we have goals, that our mind is always to the future and always looking to elevate ourselves. We have a few announcements. Make dua for Parvin Yunus and Shaista Samad and Sister Angelis, who are all sick. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to ease their pain and to give them a speedy recovery and to grant them patience through their hard times and to reward them for their suffering. Also make dua for Sister Noor Bano and Brother Abdullah Sattar Barakzai, who passed away. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive their sins and to overlook their shortcomings and to make their grave a piece of paradise and to protect them from any hardships or any punishment. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant their family patience through the hard times. Just a reminder, these facilities in these buildings around the masjid, they are not open for parking. So keep your parking on the street. Even if you have to walk a short distance or even a longer distance, remember that that is for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is reward in it. And one time a companion told the Prophet ﷺ that he wanted to move closer to the masjid. So the Prophet ﷺ told him, don't. Stay further away because every step you take to the masjid and from the masjid is reward. So if you have to park at the beginning of Madero and walk for 5-10 minutes, know that there is reward in that. And that transgressing the right of your neighbor is a sin. So be careful. Muslim Speakers Network has a presentation tonight at 6 p.m. here in OCIF. The topic is an introduction to Islam and American Muslims, and the guest speaker is Sister Shaista Azad. Please join us. That's tonight at 6 p.m. It's open to the entire community. Pillars Academy is inviting you, your extended family and friends to attend their open house on Wednesday, February 28th at 5 p.m. Friday Quran class is tonight at 4:30 p.m. OCIF's movie night is on Friday, March 2nd, which is next week, featuring Just Play, a movie inspired by the true story, Children of the Stone, a candidate forum, a joint educational event with MPAC on Sunday, March 4th at 3 p.m. at OCIF. Please join us and prospective candidates for districts 45 and 48, Dave Min, Brian Forday, Kia, I don't know how to say the last name, Hans, and Omar Siddiqui. So come and support these, or see what these candidates have to say. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us set goals and achieve those goals. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive our sins. اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات إنك سميع قريب مجيب الدعوات يا رب العالمين. اللهم أصلح لنا ديننا الذي هو عصمة أمرنا وأصلح لنا دنيانا التي فيها معاشنا وأصلح لنا آخرتنا التي إليها معادنا واجعل الحياة زيادة لنا في كل خير واجعل الموت راحة لنا من كل شر. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. We have a sister outside who's distributing sweets for the sister Shaista Samad. So they did a khatim, and at the end of the khatim, I guess it's their custom to distribute halwa, sweets. So please take from them. Sallallahu alaihi wa sallam. Welcome to Salah.